Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel HR Talks with Khaula, and today we are going to discuss on a very interesting topic, which is startups versus large organizations. But no, this is not going to be the usual boring pros and cons session or a video that you've seen before. We're going to touch base onto something very specific, some of the toughest HR challenges in startups and large organizations and how to tackle it as well. Sound interesting? Let's dig deep into it. Challenge number 1, the rapid growth and changes in teams. As we all know, startups moves fast, and in startups they do not have time to develop or groom their teams. If the demand changes, their team changes quickly as well as per their requirements. We can take an example of Airlift when it was active in Pakistan, or Grofers in India. They face this challenge as well, as compared to larger organizations like IBM or Infosys, where the challenge is quite the opposite. Their team is constantly growing, but it is growing with decade-old policies as well. So here's the split. I believe startups can work on cross-functional teams and bring more agility, while large organizations should focus on training and mentoring their teams and planning those initiatives where the training and mentoring part is involved. It is all about creating a balance between training and agility. Challenge number 2. Limited resources versus bureaucratic roadblocks. In startups, we all know they have money constraints, they have budget issues, and they want to make sure that every rupee spent is to be spent on something that has to come with an impact. While in large organizations, they have a lot of budget, but many of their initiatives taken or planned by HR has to be approved by a lot of layers of senior management, and which has its own constraints. So what startups can do is, like, if they cannot have budget for high-tech HR solutions, they can work around Slack for communication as a communication tool for teams, or they can use Google Sheets instead of expensive ERP systems. While big companies like Google can definitely work on cutting the red tape where it's required, so a lot of teams do not have to wait for weeks and weeks of higher management approval. Let's face it, it hardly comes on time. Challenge number 3, building a culture versus sustaining it. Okay, so startups, as we all know, has a build from scratch energy. People are very energetic, and the culture can be molded as well. While large organizations like Microsoft have decades old culture, and they have to refresh it for every generation of employees that comes and expect something different. So for startups, I strongly believe that they have to define their values that last, and for large organizations, they have to embrace feedback and continue to change according to the new generation of employees, according to their feedback, and according to how they can stay relevant to today while keeping their roots strong from the past as well. Last and the fourth challenge is compliance versus policy setting. So for startups, compliance always comes as an afterthought, and policies are changing every day with the changing needs, while in the large organizations, it's completely opposite. The policies are decades older, and they feel that they are a little bit hesitant in changing their policies according to their expansion, according to different teams, according to different cultures as well. So I would strongly believe that startups need to set some foundational policies so that moving forward they can avoid some very basic hiccups in their actions and processes, while large companies should be adaptable to some changes in the outdated and rigid policies, and also sometimes allow the local teams to set some rules as well. So what's the final verdict? Whether you're part of a sparkling a new startup or a large corporate sector, always know that every setup has its own unique challenges. As an HR person or as an employee, you should know your strengths and face every challenge and find solutions. Always know one thing: no matter what the company's size is, culture and adaptability always wins. So I would love to hear from all of you, either you're part of a big organization or an amazing startup. How's your experience going, and are you facing any challenge? Or if you worked at both, what do you think is the main difference? Till next time, see you, bye bye, tata.